The polls open in Boston just 12 hours from now. And after months of carefully choreographed campaign events, we share a less guarded glimpse of the candidates. Plus, Boston voters aren't the only ones picking a mayor tomorrow.
¿Cómo estamos? ¿Todo bien?
We hear from controversial Lawrence Mayor William Lantigua in a rare television interview and catch up with his challenger, now on Greater Boston. Good evening. We've seen them on the stump. We've been inundated by their ads and listened to them debate. But if you believe one recent poll, as many as a third of Boston voters still aren't sold on either mayoral candidate. So as we planned our coverage for the run-up to Election Day, we wanted to present a side of John Connolly and Marty Walsh you haven't seen. Bright and early on a Saturday this month, I got a peek inside John and Meg Connolly's West Roxbury home. A couple of campaign workers were already there, and despite a burned-out light bulb, there was electricity in the air. It's early on a Saturday morning. John and Meg Connolly have been up since 6, making breakfast for 3 kids, entertaining them with toy helicopters and a paint easel for the budding artist in the family.
I love that, Claire.
And then there are the everyday chores.
Dad, what are you doing?
I was changing the light bulbs, my man.
It's chaos.
Every day. It's a beautiful chaos, but it's chaos, so.
And this is all before a day of campaigning that includes 23 stops.
How do you do it?
Oh, Meg really does the bulk of the work during the campaign. I'm really indebted there. But yeah, the mornings are chaos because I'm rushing out the door at the crack of dawn, and the kids are always in motion. So I'm very lucky to have Meg
holding down the fort.
Yeah.
The Connollys have lived in this West Roxbury home since 2003. John says they couldn't afford a place in Roslindale where he grew up. But now they say this is ideal.
What do you like about this neighborhood, May?
Oh, I love this neighborhood. We can walk right down to the park. You can even walk to Roach Brothers. I mean, it's these things. The library is right down the street. Everything is, within a stone's throw, and it's a very family-friendly, community, like most of Boston.
It's hard to go anywhere without coming across someone with a stroller. So it's great. There's a lot of kids and a lot of families. When I take my time off the campaign, I let the kids pick what we're going to do, and Teddy loves the subway, so we will literally spend the free day trying to ride each subway line in the commuter rail.
Every single one.
Every single one. So,
who pays the bills?
Yes, I do. Yes, I pay the bills.
And how did you work that out? You're just better at it, or just?
That's part of it.
Oh, yeah, that's part of it. Maybe I'm just more controlling, I don't know.
No, I think it's that, and then I just work these crazy hours, so.
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah.
What's the bill you hate paying the most?
Oh, geez.
My student loans, I think.
Actually, yes, thank you. Now I have them on automatic pay, so I don't have to look at them. John's got his student loans.
I have student loans.
From?
I have them from college and law school, and so that's we'll be paying that for the rest of my life. But
well, yeah. I hope not.
What do you like to spend money on? What gives you pleasure if you have a little extra cash here and there? What do you like to?
Oh, anything with our family all together, doing something fun that Claire and Teddy love doing, and soon Mary Kate. But anything with our family all together, we are willing to, whether it be a vacation on the Cape or.
Going out and anything. We go out and get ice cream. We go out to the store and buy art supplies for Claire. She's a budding artist. So we turned one of the rooms in the house into basically a mini art studio.
Little studio.
Yeah, for Claire.
For Claire, and Teddy loves it now too.
So when you go on trips together, is it usually beach oriented? Is it sports oriented? What do you do?
I think we do a little bit of everything. I mean, we've taken the kids out hiking with us. We love the beach. The beach is probably number one, and we do everything from drive over to M Street Beach and South Boston to going down the Cape, which we're really lucky to be able to get down there for you know, a week in the summer.
It's their favorite thing to look for snails and, you know, the little crabs. And, I mean, we could just spend the whole day on the beach and they are happy.
And the other thing is the Arboretum, and I mean, we spent a lot of time in Boston. I mean, that's where we spend the bulk of our time, but it's such a great city for kids and for families.
Yeah, there's a lot to do.
And a lot to face if their wish comes true and John Connolly is elected mayor. John says just living in this neighborhood has given him a good sense of the vast range of the city's diversity.
We live across the street from West African immigrants. You know, we have our next door neighbors are African American. We have a Latino family 2 houses down, and this shows to me the progress Boston has made.
The First Lady of Boston usually assumes some kind of role, something that they're passionate about. What do you think would be your passion?
In my heart? Well, I'm a psychologist, so with a particular interest in the intersection of mental health and public health, and so definitely my passion would be the mental health of our, you know, residents in Boston, from kids through adults, families. My clinical work is focused specifically on family systems, so I'm particularly interested in that, as well as the immigrant experience.
So you got 3 kids. Is that it?
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We haven't had a lot of time to talk about it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. This last one, our third, Mary Kate, is so easy and cuddly. She's the type of baby that makes you want to have another. So we'll see.
I'm up for anything Meg's up for.
Good answer. All right. Well, both candidates have been maintaining a breakneck campaign schedule. Despite our best efforts, we couldn't nail down a time for me to sit down with Marty Walsh and his girlfriend, LORRIE Higgins, at his Dorchester home. So instead, we're sharing portions of the at-home interview conducted by NECN political reporter Allison King, along with my time out on a very early and very chilly campaign stop in South Boston this morning.
Marty Walsh.
If you didn't know otherwise, you'd think it was former South Boston State Senator Jack Hart who was on the stump this morning.
Morning. Marty Walsh, candidate for mayor.
Marty Walsh was out late last night and up early this morning. Today, greeting commuters at the L and 4th Street bus stop in South Boston. There's an easy affability to his frenetic manner. What's it been like for you personally?
It's grueling. I mean, personally, I've enjoyed it. I mean, but personally, inside, it's been grueling with my family. You know, just kind of always on the go. But as far as going around the city, I've loved it. I've enjoyed talking to people. There's so many special people in the city, so many people that need a lot of help, and it's, for me, that's been what I've loved doing.
How much weight have you lost?
25 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all right, though. You know, it's I guess somebody said to me, I told a guy one day I lost 25 pounds. He goes, that's great, 25 less pounds on your body. I'm like, it makes sense.
This last day of campaigning, Marty is joined by his girlfriend of 8 years, LORRIE Higgins. What's this been like for you, LORRIE?
It's very exciting, exhausting, but very exciting. You know, I know Marty wanted to run for mayor for quite some time. As long as I've known Marty, this has been, you know, something we've always discussed. So it's been a long, what is it, 7 months, I think, but it's been fun.
Have you been out on the campaign trail much?
Yes, a lot. I work, so days, but nights I hop in, and weekends I'm with him all day and all night.
Marty Walsh grew up the son of a laborer and joined a union himself at the age of 21. He beat the odds by overcoming cancer at age 7, but it was alcohol that almost did him in.
Some people at work hinted to me that I might have had a problem, and you know, I just didn't think it was. But then I started to, you know, disappoint people, and it was just kind of, you know, it spiraled. I mean, I was ruining holidays and ruining other occasions and blacking out. I went to rehab to kind of get the heat off me. And what happened was, you know, the first night I was there was an AA meeting came in to speak, and somebody spoke, and he hooked me, and it just said something that just a trigger went off, a light switch went off in my head, it went on in my head, I should say, and from that point until today, I mean, it's just been unbelievable.
It was then, Walsh says, that his life changed for the better. He reconnected with LORRIE, a girl from the neighborhood he had known his whole life.
I chased her. She said no. I chased her some more. She said no. and she said no, and now I think she wishes she still said no. Actually, we went to lunch.
We did.
It was a day for me lunch for her.
It was a lunch.
It worked.
Yes.
Well, she didn't agree to going on a date, so I said let's go to lunch, and she agreed to lunch.
Yes, and it went well. And then we did a couple dates.
Lorrie says Marty treats her daughter Lauren and extended family like one big family.
He has his mom and his brother and me and Lauren. So he's a big family man, Marty.
I love Laurie's family, and and her nieces and nephews too. I love them like they're my own kids, and they know that. And so just because they're not my children, I mean, I view Lauren in a lot of ways as my daughter. I'm protective of her. I give her advice and trying to keep an eye on her.
Marty Walsh has been a state rep since 1997, a job he savors. But running for mayor was inevitable.
I just love politics. When I first ran, I think I ran because of, not ran, I wanted to run because I wanted to see my name on a bumper sticker. And then when
well, they're out there.
No, they are now. There's a lot of them out there. But, and then I just love public service.
Meanwhile, on this final day of campaigning, Marty Walsh is wasting no time and taking no votes for granted.
Ma Marty Walsh is a primeira vez que vem ali. Marty Walsh, você faz.
All right, I am joined now by WGBH News powerhouse political analyst Peter Kadzis, a veteran reporter and Boston resident, and David Bernstein, who splits his time and talent between WGBH and Boston Magazine, and of course the Scrum here on WGBHnews.org. Well, it was nice to get a glimpse of the two of them in a different setting. I mean, they both seemed very, very tired, as you were remarking that John Connolly was up early. He was very concerned about his schedule that morning. He already had 23 stops he was coming, but they both have really, really nice and dear family situations, and they're completely different, but very solid.
Salt of the earth is the word that comes to mind. I mean, looking at both of them in their home settings, which I've never seen before, they remind me of my relatives.
Sure.
At least the better relatives.
Yeah, exactly. Mine too.
Yeah, and they're very, they're both very, very nice guys. Very, I've reported on them, in many conversations with both of them over the years. They're very nice guys. They're very serious about politics and very serious about public service. But they're also people who you can tell, take the time with their family and the things that they like to do and the people they like to be with. So, you look at the polls on this race, and they show that about 65% favorable, 15% unfavorable ratings for both candidates. People like both of them.
They do.
Yeah.
I was about to say that next. That everywhere I've gone in and around the city, and I've gotten around a lot in the last few days between the Red Sox and the march and the parades and all that, everybody has said the same thing. They like them both, but they've already, people have already basically decided where they're going to go, and it seems to be breaking down largely by community, and I'm wondering why that is. South Boston seems Marty Walsh, Back Bay seems John Connolly. Why?
Well, I think some communities are. For example, let me state the obvious. West Roxbury, Rosendale, for Conley, Dorchester,
for Marty Walsh.
For Marty Walsh. I was actually surprised, Emily, that I have found in Jamaica Plain a large number of people who I suspect are leaning one way or the other, but they can't bring themselves to say who they're for. You know what else it strikes me is what a remarkable or what a striking generational change Boston is about to overcome.
Wow.
I mean, Tom Menino is like everyone's grandfather at this point. I mean, I say that respectfully. He's been in office so long. And many of the people who are most likely going to get on the city council are on the young side. And so Boston's about to undergo a generational change that I don't think many of us realized was coming.
You can see the vital energy that these two men,
even
Menino had
tired.
it most of his life, most of his career.
Yeah, no, I think that the generational shift is a very big thing, and it really is. We've had we've sort of grown with Tom Menino. It's always funny to look back at, and I think that WGBH posted a while back, old video of when Tom Menino was first running for mayor. Yeah. And it's amazing to think, hey, wait, we elected a young guy.
Oh, I know. We're going to run that again.
There were options, certainly, in this race to pick an older generation, but both these guys, and both are guys who have never run a big city, big organization, or they're both people who were sort of taking a leap of faith, saying you can run an organization with so many people and so many different activities. But yeah, I think that there is kind of that generational shift, and that the generational shift is more important in a lot of ways than a lot of these demographic shifts, to people in terms of, I think it's expected at this point that people that age and younger are sort of diverse and multicultural in their approach, and accepting of different lifestyles in the city. It's not an old versus, it's not a old Boston versus young Boston. Is not a, it's more an age thing than a diversity
But to get
thing.
back to something you said earlier about neighborhoods, it'll be interesting to see how some neighborhoods split. For example, take Charlestown, which will probably go for Connolly, but it'll be interesting to see how large a vote Walsh gets. Keep an eye on East Boston, which should be fairly competitive. Again, Connolly is thought to have...
And of course, the casino vote will bring more people out there.
Exactly.
I would point to Hyde Park also as a major battleground. A lot of votes there. Of course, we don't know. Usually, Hyde Park gets a huge turnout because, of course, Tom Menino brings them out. Will it get the same kind of proportionate turnout? And then where do they go? From what I hear, it's very much a split.
Exactly.
Almost micro communities.
It's street by street there. What happened on preliminary, I was surprised to see Rob Consalvo obviously did, carried Reedville. But Marty Walsh had some real strength there.
Absolutely.
In some places, it is street by street. It's very exciting.
I couldn't help but notice that, being part of those families for a minute there, that I think the change for John Connolly is going to be greater than it will be for Marty Walsh in terms of just suddenly, and with that young family and not being, he's not home now. He'll never be home now. It's going to be a little bit of a change.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine. I'm thankfully beyond where John Connolly is, but I was there once. I remember those tired days. Actually, I'm glad to know that there's someone in the city of Boston who has a life just as unexciting as the one I lead.
All right. Peter Kadzis, David Bernstein, thanks so much.